Hi, Naukri Learning viewers. So we have yet another insightful video for you, and this time this is for machine learning aspirants. This video will be useful for anyone who is beginning into machine learning, and we would discuss important skills to add to your CV to get into this field. For this, we have with us Kaushal Kumar Singh. He has more than 10 years of experience, which includes 5 years into data science and analytics. He also has exposure into various machine learning algorithms, into Python, predictive modeling, data visualization, data validation, etc. Once you watch this video, if you guys have any questions related to the topic, you can definitely share in the comment box below, and we'll try to get back to you. We'll try to answer it. Without any further delay, Kaushal, over to you. You can begin.
Yeah, thanks, Niharika. So I'll also start with the session. Okay, so first of all, I'll start with a formal introduction to machine learning. So machine learning, as most of you might be aware, it's a technique wherein the machine learns from the data without being explicitly programmed for it. Okay, so we use various machine learning techniques and algorithms wherein the machine learns from the data and it is able to make predictions on new data it encounters. Okay, so what are the key skills? We'll discuss the key skills which are required, and I have grouped them or bucketed them into two different skills categories. One is the soft skills and the other is the technical skills. Okay, so talking about soft skills, uh, first and the one of the most important soft skills you should have is you should be able to articulate your insights, whatever insights you are getting from the data, to business without all the minimum uses of technical jargons, like whatever machine learning algorithms you are using or whatever matrices you are using. So whatever your findings are, you should be able to explain them in simple plain English. Okay, so you should be using as less minimum technical jargons as possible. Okay, because business people don't or are not interested in those technical terms. They are only interested in the results. Okay, so you should be able to uh, present your results in simple words to them. Okay, and on continuation to that, you should be able to present those findings in presentations, graphs, okay, bullet points or key matrices. And I would say like visualization helps in presenting your findings in a lot more simpler and easy to understand way. So use graphs and charts as much as possible. Okay, so that is one thing you should be well acquainted with. Okay, another thing is, so machine learning does not work without data. Okay, so you have to have good data and you have to have the all the relevant data which is needed for your whatever prediction you are trying to do or whatever model you are trying to train. Okay, so in that scenario you might have to deal with or might have to communicate with multiple data owners. Okay, and it would not be a single team or a single person, right? So you may have to communicate with different teams, and you'll have to ask the relevant questions. Okay, you'll have to get a data understanding, and you'll have to ask what are the data sources or how or what all fields you'll require, right? So these all will come once you communicate with the data owners, you get a data understanding, and then after that you can basically get the data pulled in for your machine learning modeling. Okay, and the last but not the least, the most important soft skills skill set is continuous learning attitude. I know it's generic in IT industry, but especially for machine learning, since this field is growing at a very rapid pace. Okay, and I mean a lot of research is also being done in this field. Okay, so you have to be learning, and it's very pretty vast. Okay, so there are many areas, specialized areas in this field. So you have to be on your toes, and you have to be having a learning attitude. You have to always uh, even when you are working, right, you should be reading some blogs, maybe some books, and so on. So you should have that attitude in with yourself. Okay, now other group of skills which you need would be your technical skills, of course. So one of the primary skills would be data analysis skills. So even for machine learning, you will be doing what is called as exploratory data analysis. Okay, So you'll be playing with the data. Okay, you'll be trying to explore the data. Okay, you'll be doing various merges. You'll be trying to what to say, transform the data, right? Pivot the data. So you'll be doing various kinds of things with the data. You'll try to see or try to find out various patterns in the data, right? So that analysis skills should be there. And if you have some prior experience with Excel also, I mean, that would also help. Okay, so some experience with data would definitely help. But even if you don't have, just you can actually come up to speed after having some hands-on also. Okay, and the other is programming. Okay, so all the machine learning techniques which you'll be using, okay, so you basically will be using a programming language for it. Okay, and the most popular programming language being used currently in the industry is Python. Okay, so R was being used, but Python has overtaken R now. Okay, so everywhere Python is being used vastly. Okay, so you should learn Python. Okay, so get acquainted with the basics first, and once you are done with the basics, I would say learn the object oriented concepts, the oops concepts in Python. Okay, so because all the production code you'll be using those concepts. Okay, so that is another thing. The third point is knowledge of statistics, calculus, and linear algebra. Now this is required. I mean, you don't need to deep dive in this, and you can also use backtracking. So what I mean is, like, whenever you're solving a problem, right? So there will be various techniques which will involve knowledge of statistics, calculus, and linear algebra. Even the algorithms, right? Even the algorithms will be using these in the backend. Okay. So what you can do whenever you are using an algorithm, just backtrack it and learn the concepts which are involved. Okay, because obviously statistics, calculus, and linear algebra is very vast. Maybe you can just cover the most common concepts first, and then whenever you are using some algorithm, you just backtrack it and learn it. So that would be the best approach to learn it, rather than doing a course, 3 months course on statistics, linear algebra, on calculus. So that would be the best approach. Just get on with the basics, like a week or so, or maybe a couple of days also would be enough. And then whenever you are encountering any algorithm, whenever you are seeing anything, any concepts from statistics, any of these three topics, you just backtrack and learn it. Okay, so that is one thing. Apart from that, you should be uh, having an idea on databases. When I say databases, relational databases, you may encounter non-relational databases as well, which are also called NoSQL databases. But still, most of the industry, I mean, predominantly it is the relational databases which is still being used across widely across the industry. Okay, so you should be acquainted with the relational databases, and one of the most uh, I mean, one of the most prominent languages used to query the relational databases is SQL. Okay, so there are various flavors of SQL, like SQL Server, Oracle SQL, and so on. But the syntax varies very little across all these different flavors. But you should be knowing how to query the data. The reason behind learning SQL is you might have to retrieve data from the databases. Okay, so in that case, you should be good with SQL. You might have to do some joins as well. You might have to do some filtering or various data manipulations as well. Okay, so for those scenarios, you should be having a knowledge of SQL. Okay, and you should be good. You should have a good hands-on experience with SQL or knowledge with SQL. Okay, so that will help actually. The last point is knowledge of big data, cloud, and distributed computing. Okay, so in some scenarios, you might encounter that the data resides on big data systems like Hadoop, which is basically a file distributed system. So your data will be distributed across different computers. Okay, so and for these, actually some basic ideas it would be enough, because you'll basically be pulling the data from those sources. Okay, there'll be people who will be handling those database systems. Okay, so you don't have to worry much on that. Just a basic idea would be enough. Now cloud becomes important now, because I think there are many uh, I mean, in industry, basically, we are training our models on cloud. The data is being stored now on cloud. Okay, so industries are moving towards cloud. Okay, so there are various flavors again, like Azure cloud is there, Google cloud is there, AWS cloud is there, right? So cloud knowledge would be important, and I mean, it will help you. It will help you in even with the machine learning algorithms, with the training of the models, okay, and with the fetching of the data and so on. Okay, so cloud knowledge is important. The other thing is distributed computing. Okay, so distributed computing, as I was talking about file distributed HDFS, so file distributed system, right? Distributed file system. So distributed computing is similar thing. Okay, but herein, instead of storage on different multiple computers or cluster of computers, we are basically segregating the computing power. Okay, so we have a cluster of computers, which may be 10 computers or 100 computers, depends, okay, on what the infrastructure you have. So basically you'll be using the combined power. So in industry, in practical scenarios, you'll have a huge data. Okay, so you'll have to whatever computations you have to do, you basically segregate the data on these computers, and then the computations will be done on all the individual computers. So some idea on distributed computing will be helpful. Okay, you may encounter Spark as well. Okay, so Spark is a Apache platform which is quite popular for distributed computing. Okay, so that would be the last thing. So I think I have covered all the skills required. Okay, so the soft skills and the technical skills, and I think if you go through them step by step, I think in and with some hands-on as well. Okay, so you may practice modeling on Kaggle or different other platforms. Okay, so I think if you go on with it, I think with a right motivation, it may take like three months or 6 months or so on, but you'll be able to move into the field of machine learning. So there are definitely a lot of openings in the field right now, and the industry is growing. I mean, it is moving in different aspects of the industry, like manufacturing, IT, finance. All the different landscapes of the industry are actually trying to utilize machine learning algorithms and see the benefits out of it. So it will definitely be a good area to explore and move into. So with that, I'll end my session, and I hope you gained something from it. And yeah, over to you, Niharika.
Thank you so much, Kaushal. I think it was quite insightful, especially for people who want to move into machine learning. And for those of you, whoever has encountered this video, subscribe to Naukri Learning, because we will be coming up with more such content and more such learning content, to be more specific. And once again, thank you so much, Kaushal, for coming on with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.